You're listening to the Major Pod Network, the only place where your favorite toy store, bar, arcade, and arena are all on the same block. Scratch that major itch.
Today on the Game Marks podcast, we play the last WCW game on our list when we tackle WCW NWO Thunder for the PlayStation. Will we play it forever? Woo! Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
All of this plus gaming news, GMP64, and Clash at the Feast. Plug in and put on those nostalgia goggles because this week's Game Marks podcast starts now. And now, the Game Marks.
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast, presented by the Major Pod Network. I am Mr. Anything is Feasible, George Feis.
And I'm the man they call Johnny Clash, and for the first time in over a year, me and George are sitting across from each other, 6 feet apart, recording this together, and this week we are playing WCW NWO Thunder.
I am so excited, and as always, guys, we'd love to hear from you, so please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and make sure to subscribe and rate this podcast wherever you choose to listen, and join in on the conversation on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod, and on our Discord channel at GameMarksPod.com/Discord. Johnny Clash.
George,
as I speak to you right now, I am looking at your face, not over a Zoom or Discord call. So I'm torn right now because I'm very happy to be sitting across from you, but at the same time, I'm really mad at you because you've been doing nothing but kick my ass for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, so the reason why we are together today is, as we've been advertising, we have a tag team match against Top Shelf Troy Nelson and Nick Stapp. I almost said the abominable CPA. He is Nick Stapp now.
So essentially we have a match against Nick Stapp.
Yeah, we have a match against Nick Stapp. We're not really worrying about Troy, but I figured we would come here to come to Creative Pro Wrestling. We would give George some, the basic training. So maybe if Troy Nelson decides to stumble into the ring, he could trip him or give him like a little Russian leg sweep or something. And here we are today. George isn't in a body cast yet, but we got done with some training. We're gonna show you guys what he's been working on.
Yeah, I feel I'm sore. I've got bruises in over a lot of my body. But that being said, I do have a lot of respect for Nick Stapp. He's a friend of the show. He's come on the podcast a bunch of times. We've said multiple times that he is the official, unofficial third host of the podcast. And I mean, what can you say about Top Shelf Troy Nelson? I
can say a lot about Top Shelf Troy Nelson.
I mean, well, what can you say about him that hasn't already been found on any drunken public or drunken disorderly police report?
Good point.
But the end of the day, yes, it's friendly competition, but there is no way, and I've said this on our Twitch channel when people have asked about it, I refuse to lay down because they're wrestlers. I'm still bigger than them, and Ooh. I don't want to I'm not going to lay down and take an L just because we're friends with them. This is my only shot, potentially, at having a wrestling match, and I'm not just going to roll over and die.
I like it. I like the fighting spirit. Let's see when we post this training video if you actually showed that fighting spirit.
Well, the early ones, maybe we don't have to play those.
All right. Well, let's follow up from last week. We played Tokon Road Brave Spirits. I think we both hit play it forever on this one. I kind of was researching how I could get this for my own console. This is like a big play it forever for me. I really like this one.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can find this through any emulator, but at the same time there's also ways to do a little bit of hacking to the cartridge itself to get them to work in a regular North American N64 console. But yeah, like we said, it's big time play it forever from both of us, just because it was a fun game. It felt familiar but also had a nice uniqueness to it. It felt like it was a line in a series, new game in a line of games that we've already, established that we love on this podcast.
Agreed. And we are in March. So our streamer spotlight for this month is one of our avid listeners, one of our good friends here, Brett Va. That's twitch.tv/BRETTVAA. Give him a follow. But George, speaking of Twitch, I'm going to put on my, not nostalgia goggles, my future goggles here. As we are recording this, we are at 196 followers. I'm going to go and say that by the time this episode comes out, we will have unlocked the Bret the Hitman Hart retrospect episode by hitting 200 followers on Twitch.
I need to do this episode.
We need this.
I don't know why I enjoy these so much. I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's just something when we did that Undertaker episode and it just like awakened this weird desire in me to like, I kind of want to do this for a lot of wrestlers.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there are some wrestlers that we can't do because they just like haven't been in a ton of games, but anyone, maybe at some point we'll set a limit. Like if a wrestler has been featured, in 10 or more than 10 or 15 games, like they qualify for a breakdown. But like, the possibilities here are endless.
Yeah, that's why I think with The Undertaker, he's literally only been in WWF, WWE games and then kind of like the side titles. Like when we get to Bret, he's been in WCW games. He's been in the Legends of Wrestling games. He's been in the WWE games, the WWF, WCW. He's been in everything. So we really like broaden our spectrum here. And then, hey, maybe next time we're going to go for an all WCW guy.
Now feel free to cut this out if you don't want to leave this in. But I have an idea. So as we all know, George Feis, Johnny Clash, part of the Game Marks podcast, proudly a part of the Major Pod Network. I think a couple months from now, when we celebrate our 1-year anniversary of being on the Major Pod Network, maybe we do a career video game retrospective of one Brian Myers and one Matt Cardona.
Oh, I think I like that. All right, so for like kind of 11 months from now, we'll revisit this. And remember, we said it. Also, I got to point out, one of our listeners, Justin Summers, he gave us this idea, and I kind of want to roll with it.
It's so good. I'm almost mad that we didn't think of it ourselves.
So we have our own policy here where a game can't be, we explained this a couple weeks ago, a game can't be reviewed by us unless it's been out for a year. We need a chance to actually have the nostalgia goggles. But what if, say, like Retromania Wrestling, we actually recorded an episode breaking it down from our first experiences, don't release it, and then release it a year later with the new episode.
I really like that idea.
Kind of like a time capsule.
It's an interesting, it kind of guarantees that natural first impression.
Yeah.
Now, truth be told, as we're recording this, I recently have beat what is currently available as of March of 2021. I have beaten what is available in the storyline. I've played through the Retro Rumble. I've played through 10 Pounds of Gold multiple times. I am ready to plug in that review. So whenever you're ready.
Ooh, let me run through that story mode and we'll talk, because I did the 10 pounds of gold.
Yeah. Now, speaking of Retromania, we had a little interview with now friend of the podcast, Ian Riccaboni, and because of that, we were giving away the Ian Riccaboni Microbrow. Now, Johnny, you have the information of who that winner is, so...
I do. So all you had to do was follow us on YouTube, screenshot that you're following us, send it to us on Twitter using the hashtag RetroGMP. Now, I took all of the entries, I put them in a randomizer. George watched me do this.
Yep.
And I pressed randomize 5 times. And your winner, George, give me that signature drum roll. So it's creepy watching you do it right in front of me. The winner is the _D213. Congratulations. Make sure you message us on Twitter and we will send you your Ian Riccaboni Micro Brawler with that, guys. We have other giveaways that are coming really soon.
Oh yeah, I've got some plans for another giveaway. Maybe we'll announce the next giveaway next week. But
I like it.
Speaking of YouTube, John, we got a little show that we put on there. It's called GMP64, and episode 6 released last week, and what an episode it was.
So, pretty much, my DX is better than your DX.
I mean, that's up for debate.
We kind of proved it.
But, I mean, yes, for 1 week, your DX appeared to be better than my DX. But keep in mind, Triple H from the AIF brand, still the world champion.
For now, until Armageddon, which is going to be live on Twitch March 28th. Now, I shared this with one of my live streams the other day, but on that day of Armageddon.
Oh, it's funny because I also talked about that last Wednesday during my Twitch live stream.
So some people know, but at Armageddon, we are going to have a big announcement.
Yes.
We're not
Now,
going to tell you what it is.
neither one of us revealed what it is. We just hyped up the fact that there is an announcement at Armageddon.
That's it. And it's going to be beneficial to all of you, our listeners. So if you want to join in, twitch.tv/GameWorksPod on March 28th. That is at 8 p.m. as we present GMP64's Armageddon and Clash takes the world title from Triple H.
Yeah, you were right up until that point.
Now, before we get into the gaming news, I want to give the Run-In Podcast a shout out. Check them out at Run-In Podcast on Twitter. They cover, the week in pro wrestling, sports, action figures, pop culture. They cover whatever. I just want to give them a shout out as one of the friends of our podcast. Also, David C. Anderson's podcast. Did you see that?
Oh, commish.
Chat him up with David C. Anderson. Check that out as well. But George, are you ready for some gaming news?
Oh, there's one story that I'm hoping that you're going to cover. I can't wait to talk about it. Are you looking to get a better grip on life? How about your video games? Well, VGF Gamers are the largest silicone gaming brand in the USA. They have a variety of different and unique skins for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One controllers and consoles. Check out their products at VGFgamers.com and use code GameMarks to receive 15% off your order at checkout. That's GAMEMARKS at checkout. VGF Gamers. Better grip, better style.
Years later, we're finally getting a sequel of sorts to TMNT's Turtles in Time. Last Wednesday, publisher Dotemu and game developer Tribute Games revealed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, described as a classically informed side-scrolling beat-em-up directly inspired by the TMNT classic game. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is a 4-player co-op beat-em-up in the classic Konami style. That is the style of brawler that sucked quarters out of anyone who played 1989's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and its 1991 sequel, Turtles in Time, in arcades. Presumably, Shredder's Revenge will offer a gameplay experience tailored for home, not for draining TMNT fans of their allowances. Now, Psyonix and Epic Games have announced that Rocket Labs has once again returned to Rocket League as the game's latest limited-time mode. The playlist apparently features a mix of old and new Rocket Labs arenas and is currently live in the game, so fans will want to check that out as soon as possible. Rocket Labs arenas have also been a popular part of the game since the concept was introduced back in 2016, so a lot of longtime fans should be happy to see it back. Now here's an interesting one. A patent filed by Sony shows that the company is potentially interested in bringing different scents to PlayStation games. The patent was discovered by GameRant and would involve the use of positive, neutral, or negative interactions with varying scents or smells, but it's unclear exactly how the technology would work. That's all the gaming news we have this week. Check back next week. So, George, is this what you wanted, the Smell-O-Vision games?
No.
I was going to check out Rumble Roses or...
I'm just gonna cut you off because the face that you just made, I literally will haunt my dreams for the rest of my life.
That was the face of me saying, George, please cut me off here.
I am very excited for the TMNT Shredder's Revenge. We have already gotten tagged multiple times between this game, between Turtles in Time, just revisiting, playing this game with, maybe a little interpod promotion here between us and Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. People have been asking for this, and new game coming out. This may be the perfect time to do it.
I know I'm going to play the hell out of this.
Now, going back to what you just talked about, I don't know if I want to smell video games.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, how would they do this? It's got to be like a plug-in that goes in your controller with like a smell cartridge. I
don't want to plug in a Glade air freshener into the bottom of my controller if I'm playing The Last of Us, or if I'm playing...
You don't want rotten flesh smell in your face?
What is it? They're going to do it for Spyro, and when you pick up the little fruits, it'll smell like a peach or something? That's fine, but you're going to utilize this in bigger games too, so...
This is a weird one.
Flesh smell in Last of Us? Gunpowder? When you're playing Call of Duty, you just get the smell of gunpowder?
I get the smell of defeat in Call of Duty. But yeah, I don't know. That's a weird one. It would be interesting to see how they actually do it. I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it. I mean, I guess with like a VR headset and you have smells, that's like the real like immersion into the game.
Yeah, that's too much, man.
Yeah, sitting at my computer playing Call of Duty, I don't want to smell
we are
Verdansk.
rapidly approaching like Ready Player One levels of game immersion. I don't think I'm ready for that.
Yeah, I don't know. But with that, what do you say we head over to our favorite segment, the question of the week?
Oh, baby.
Hey, yo, Game Marks. You know who I am? And I'm here to tell you about our pro wrestling tees and TeePublic stores. Now let me tell you something, Game Marks. Not only do we have the most radical shirts over at Pro Wrestling Tees, we also have a TeePublic store with even more designs, dude. So head on over to ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod and TeePublic.com/user/GameMarksPod, because when you're GMP for life.
All right, Big John, Big Kev, Big
Sexy Johnny
just
Clash.
Unreal. I didn't know you had that many voices in you.
What do you mean? That was the NWO.
Jesus. So ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod, TeePublic.com/users/GameMarksPod, where you can go.
It's a mouthful, right?
It's a mouthful.
GameMarksPod.com/shop. There we go. We simplified it for all of you.
That's way easier.
Everything in one place.
That's way easier. So you can get everything. We have so many shirts, stickers, car decals, a lot of requests for hats. So maybe we're looking at getting those up there within the near future. Who knows? Sky's the limit. Johnny and I got a lot of merch ideas. But question of the week, weekly segment where we want you guys to ask Johnny and I and the Game Marks Podcast universe a question. And if we pick your question, you get a GMP prize pack. Last week, the question was if you had to create a wrestling game roster with video game characters, and the examples given were Mario, Sonic, etc., who would you pick? Name 3. So Johnny and I gave our answers last week, but some of you guys also submitted your answers. So Jesse Morgan on Twitter says Axel from Streets of Rage, Samus from Metroid, and Earthworm Jim.
You know, that was not the first Earthworm Jim, which is weird. People clearly want him in the wrestling world.
I feel like a lot of people our age, like Earthworm Jim, Boogerman, like those are like the games.
I was a fan of Earthworm Jim.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now Bizarro Stitch _ on Instagram says Solid Snake, Assassin's Creed Bayek, and Assassin's Creed Ezio. Now Casper _ Steven says Kratos, straight up champ material. The Coal Train from Gears of War, all the charisma. See, that was the same as me. And Goro, more arms, more possibilities.
He can hold all of the belts. Literally.
All of the belts.
He'll hold all of the belts.
The Ultimo Dragon picture, but just him with
it's
the
just with 4 arms. Perfect.
Now, this week's question comes from actually our Discord channel. We have a question of the week tab, and this is from Ashes in the Snow. Now, there were a bunch of variations of this question, so I'm kind of going to modify it, but if you could take any athlete and have them focus solely on training to wrestle, who would you choose, past or present? But I'm going to open it up to not only an athlete, maybe like an actor, an actress. Let's open it up to the world. Who would you want to see as a wrestler? Perfect example is like Stephen Amell right now.
I was just going to say that's an easy thing, but he's already made the crossover. He's wrestled matches before, and now he's got the heel show coming out. Ooh, that's a good one. It's an actor that is big enough to be easy. Vin Diesel. Big powerhouse of a man.
He could have his blow off with The Rock from Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, but imagine him like he really lays into the Fast and Furious franchise, and like how Eddie Guerrero used to come out with the lowrider, he comes out with that like 1960s Charger with the blower on it.
That would be nice. Joe Manganiello.
Oh, Joe Manganiello. Yeah. Joe Manganiello.
He's already he looks like a wrestler. He would be great.
That's not the first Magic Mike reference you've made on this podcast.
Oh, you know who else would be great? Channing Tatum. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, you know who else is in that movie? That would be a really good wrestler? Kevin Nash guy.
Kevin Nash guy. Oh, I was thinking even like Zdeno Chara from the Washington Capitals. Like just a 7-foot giant, like a big Russian guy.
trying to think of from the Marvel movies. Like Chris Evans could maybe be a wrestler because he's big. He's big as Captain America.
Have him versus Homelander from The Boys, like a big WrestleMania blow-off match.
That's a good question. I like this one. Oh, you can have
like Odell Beckham Jr.
That's a good. You know who would be a really good one? Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, he would be a great comedy wrestler.
That's what I'm saying. Like Ryan Reynolds,
Orange Cassidy teaming in like their denim.
But I would say but imagine if Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. Or as Van Wilder, just no costume. It's just like this. It's just Ryan Reynolds coming down with like you said, jeans and a t-shirt, just like.
In his
we're gonna wrestle now, and I'm gonna break the fourth wall every 5 seconds.
His waiter's outfit from Waiting. All right, cool. Ashes and Snow, message us on Discord, and we will send you your prize. Then now we throw it out to you guys. If you could take any athlete or actor and have them focus solely on training to wrestle, who would you choose, past or present? But. Are you ready to take the plunge? Are you ready to take our first plunge in person in over a year?
There was nothing about that sentence that I liked.
All right, let's head on over to our hashtag deep dive.
Are you sick of drinking the same old boring coffee with the same old boring flavors? Well, Marks, it's time for you to check out Bones Coffee Company. Bones Coffee isn't just a drink that wakes you up in the morning. It's a full flavor experience. Small batch roasts that are made to order so that every order is guaranteed to be fresh. Unbelievable, all-natural flavors in every single bag. Some of our favorites are blueberry, paradise pie, and chocolate raspberry. But if you're not into the flavored coffees, they've got their single origin series featuring coffee beans from the greatest coffee growing regions in the world. Visit GameMarksPod.com/coffee to place your order and try the world's freshest small batch coffee. Johnny Clash, I have 2 words for you. And it's not suck it. It's carrot cake.
Carrot cake.
Bones Coffee Limited Edition carrot cake.
Did you put your order in? I put my order in.
So I put an order in for 4 sample bags because I needed to try everything. So technically it's 5. So they had a deal. Bourbon barrel aged coffee. Buy one, get one. So that's 2 bags. Then I bought the cannoli. Then I bought the carrot cake.
Cannoli.
Gabagool.
Gabagool.
Then I got 2 of the bourbon barrel aged coffee. I got another bag of the cannoli. I got another bag of the key lime pie. And I got carrot cake.
Ooh, I walked in here today, ready to go. I've had my blueberry in tow. I can't get it past the blueberry. It's still my favorite.
Yeah, I think so. You walked in with like a mug, like a nice insulated thermos of coffee. I did not peg you for like a thermos guy.
I got multiple Yetis. I'm a Yeti guy.
Oh, now I kind of want.
I have at least 4. I'm not kidding.
Maybe I want a branded Yeti at some point.
You never know. But George, WCW Thunder, tell me about this game.
All right, so WCW NWO Thunder, released January 15th, 1999 for the PlayStation 1. Developed by Inland Productions, published by THQ, and get ready, John. It is the sequel to one of our favorite games of all time. Just kidding, WCW Nitro. And, this builds upon that. There's a lot of references made to the previous game by the wrestlers during their rants. So these new features are a cage match, a battle royal, and weapons that are just very randomly placed outside the ring. And,
very random.
And the weapons themselves are random. There was a very small briefcase that literally could not hold anything if you wanted it to. And for some reason,
handbag.
There was just a stool, like a wooden stool, at ringside.
You never saw just a wooden stool around WCW's ring?
I've seen folding chairs outside of rings. Can't say I've seen many matches with like bar stools, just like wooden bar stools at ringside.
Super weird. Literally, like, they put a bath fitter over Nitro.
Oh, you don't remember that bar stool? That wooden bar stool match from WCW back in the day?
Bar stool on a pole match. At least this game does feature commentary from Tony Schiavone and Mike Today. Now, it is sporadic. It's kind of just thrown in at random times, like, vertical suplex. off the ropes.
Pile driver.
Pile driver. It's very random. Now, this game had a lot of hype. I remember watching Nitro, watching Thunder. They would hype this game up so much. You'd see the commercial. It looked so cool. I remember they would put the hotline number, like, call here to order.
Sorry,
they would
the what number?
The hotline. Oh. They would hold up this gigantic Thunder box. Like, it looked like it was... Thunderbox?
That made me laugh.
It was like quadruple the size of the regular like PlayStation disc, but they would hold it up and they would tell you to like call for info. So me being 12 years old, I thought that was the only way to get the game. I didn't know I could just walk into like a Coconuts and just buy this game, or like the Wiz.
What did you just defuncto franchises?
Sorry, nostalgia goggles.
You're going to stop at Circuit City next?
I did buy it at the Wiz eventually. But my mom said, okay, if you want to know how much this game is, if you want to buy it, you have to call the hotline. So, hell yeah, I'll call. So I call.
The hotline?
Stop it. You're being creepy. So when you call like this number, it wasn't like the WCW hotline where like Sting answers. It was like, WCW, how can I help you? This is Bernice or something.
Oh,
and
goddamn Bernice.
And like they're like, oh, the game is $65 plus shipping and handling. And my mom's like, absolutely not. $65. I ended up probably getting it for like a holiday or something.
Yeah, I don't know. By the time it was on like clearance.
Yeah, 30. It was definitely
prices.
around the time it came out. I just don't know what it was for, but I did get the game. Let me tell you. Letdown City. Did I put time into this game? Yeah, absolutely, because it was the current WCW game I had. Probably the only WCW game I had at the time, because I didn't have an N64 then. I had the PlayStation first. And just, when you just have those expectations for a game and you're playing and in your head you're like, this is good, and you're trying to like convince yourself that it's good. For me,
Cut to 13-year-old George playing WWF Warzone.
Yeah, as we've said on that episode many times. It's just too similar to Nitro. It's literally Nitro with a brand new roster. They added all this crap that you don't need. Do you need the entire inland development team on your roster? No.
We're going to get into the roster a little later, but I just want to tell you, I have never, in all of my decades of gaming, ever played a video game for the PlayStation where there are so many characters in the game that when you hit down on the character select menu, it locks the game.
Yeah.
It freezes the game because it has to load all of it. Like, what?
There's a lot to load. It took a long time for us even to get down to the bottom, but that was kind of what PlayStation's deal was. It did have those long loading screens where N64 was kind of instant on the cartridge.
Yeah, but there is a glaring thing that I originally thought was cool, but then when you kind of shined a little, fine-tooth comb examining light on it, kind of poke some holes in this. This opening FMV that plays is great. I was so hyped to play. It's awesome. Then you go to the match select screen,
which is ugly as hell.
It's not appealing at all. Then you go to the character select screen. And you're like, okay, this looks like Nitro. Then there's this little button that you can hit. For us, it was circle. Hit the button. Little rants, little promos that are done by the wrestlers.
The rants that we were used to from Nitro, which are really cool.
And it's awesome because DDP's is my favorite because at one point he goes, what's the matter? You didn't listen to me last time? Here's your chance to make up
Continuity.
For it. Pick me this time. And I was like, he's referencing the last time because in the last game,
Monkey Boy.
He goes, hey, Monkey Boy, there's no other choice. You got to pick me. And then he opens up the other in Thunder and goes, hey, Monkey Boy, did you make the mistake and not pick me last time? I was like, continuity.
Love it.
Continuity.
Now, also, unlike Nitro, I think more wrestlers have rants this time around.
Yeah.
Where only like the base roster kind of had them last time. More of them have them this time. Now, the entrances really annoyed me in this game. You thought they were cool. They are. It's a real life screen grab of an entrance from Thunder on TV.
Which I loved, and I was like, this is so cool. Like, it saves so much time. Like, it's literally just like a 5 to 8 minute clip, or 5 to 8 second clip of just like them coming out of the Thunder entrance, and like then it goes.
There's
to the
the problem right there. The Thunder entrance. If you choose World War III? What if you choose Starrcade? You're still coming out of the Thunder entrance. Now you know. I picked Sting. They picked the absolute
It
worst.
was weird. It was weird.
FMV for Sting to come out with. He had his hair in a ponytail. He just kind of did like the little hand signal, like the woo and all that, and it just really bothered me.
All right, so I mean, I feel like we can talk about these entrances all day, just because there's a huge roster, and you know, I'm sure we could poke holes in all of them. I mean, the big glaring one is that everyone comes out of Thunder, which is what ruined it for me. But I think it's time that we hop into some of these game modes here. So you have a 1-player 10-match gauntlet style for the World Heavyweight Championship, a 7-match gauntlet style for the U.S. Heavyweight. You have a 5-match gauntlet style for the TV title. You have your 1-player exhibition match, 2-player versus mode, 1-player exhibition tag match, 2-player versus tag match, 1-player battle royal, 2-player versus battle royal, 1-player exhibition cage match, and 2-player versus cage match.
Yeah, and the battle royal is only 4 players in the ring, and it's just elimination style. That's it. It's like a 4-way dance. But here's the thing. You go through these 10 matches. You're like, wow, I just won the World Heavyweight Championship. What do I get? Does it show me holding the belt? So it basically will say something like, Goldberg destroys Hogan by pinfall. Goldberg wins the World Heavyweight belt. Not championship, heavyweight belt. Does it show the belt? No. And then you know what it cuts to? Just a regular generic WCW FMV.
Like not of Goldberg winning the title?
No. Just generic. Now, what happens when you win the U.S. title? Exactly the same thing. TV title? Exactly the same thing. So it's kind of like, okay, I just did all this. I guess I'll pat myself on the back. What do I get?
Man, that's definitely a letdown. I mean, it would have been cool. It's a nice treatment if they had at least unique FMVs for each belt. I mean, I understand you're not going to film a video of every person winning the title, but just cool. like a little animation of the belt would be cool. So I think I'm ready to run into the roster, but I wanted you to take me through this other strange feature and kind of explain what that is. It's like the allegiance system.
Right. So I had to ask my mom when I was 12 what allegiance meant. So
do you need to know in your 30s what allegiance means?
So on the roster select screen, when you pick your character, you could press square and you could change them from WCW or NWO Hollywood or NWO Wolfpack, Ravens Flock, or the Four Horsemen, and their gear will actually change with that. Now, there were some that just don't make sense. Like Scott Hall joins the Wolfpack. You think they would make his cool drippy gear red, but instead it's just a Wolfpack shirt and jeans. Same with Goldberg. So I kind of think it's just generic based on that.
You had a big bone to pick, and this was the example that you used to show me how broken this allegiance system was. What happens with Sting?
So Sting's defaulted to the NWO Wolfpack, where he's got his regular Wolfpack gear. Now, if you change him to WCW, you think you'd get Crow Sting, but he's actually still red and black. His shirt is just red. He just has a red Sting shirt. That's it. Now, if you want to go NWO Hollywood, if you want to go Ravens Flock or Four Horsemen Sting, then you get black and white Sting. And they're still a little different. Now, I didn't do that as a kid because they booed him, and I didn't like that they booed him. Because in this game, we figured out when you get booed, whether it's a taunt or whether you win a match, the crowd throws garbage at you, which was a main staple of WCW in 1999, as Hogan.
The first time it happened, I accidentally hit a taunt button, and I was shocked that happened. I was like, they're throwing garbage at me here.
Now, what do you say we run through this roster here? We have them broken down by faction.
We are 1,000,000% splitting this up. Okay. This is far too much for one person to read.
I'm going to take WCW, and you're going to take the NWOs.
Okay.
But before we do that, what do you say we hear a word from our sponsors?
Let's pay some bills.
All right, we are back. Here is your roster for WCW. Alex Wright, Barbarian, Bobby Heenan, Booker T, Bret Hart, British Bulldog, Chavo Guerrero Jr., Chris Jericho, Diamond Dallas Page, Doug Dillinger, Disco Inferno, Eddie Guerrero, Ernest the Cat Miller, Fit Finley, Glacier, Goldberg, Iron Mike Tenay, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, Jimmy Hart, Johnny Grunge, Juventud Guerrera, Canyon, Kaz Hayashi, La Parka, Larry Zbyszko, Lee Marshall, Mean Gene Okerlund, Meng, Mike Enos, Prince Iakea, Psychosis, Rey Mysterio Jr., Rick Fuller, Rick Steiner, Rocco Rock, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Saturn, Sonny Ono, Stevie Ray, Tony Schiavone, Ultimo Dragon, and Wrath.
All right, for the NWO White and Black, you have Brian Adams, Buff Bagwell, Kurt Hennig, Disciple, Eric Bischoff. Uh-oh. Controversial topic here. The Giant.
Oh, he's under NWO.
Hollywood Hogan, Miss Elizabeth, Rick Rude, Scott Hall, Scott Norton, Scott Steiner, Vincent. For the NWO Wolfpack, you have Kevin Nash, Conan, Lex Luger, Macho Man Randy Savage, and Sting.
Now for the Four Horsemen, you have Arn Anderson, Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, Mongo Steve McMichael, and Ric Flair. I'll take Raven's Flock as well.
All right.
One of my favorite factions. We have Billy Kidman, Horace Hogan, Lodi, Raven, Reese, Scotty Riggs, Sick Boy, and Van Hammer.
Now, the Nitro Girls are also in this game. You have Spice, Whisper, Tigress, Fire, AC Jazz, Shay, and Kimberly.
Now, this is where it gets a little weird. I'm going to take these next two, and then you could finish us out with the wacky ones.
Oh, God.
Literally. So THQ gives you Dave Hoffman, Don Newart, John Ardell, Jim Kiley, Leyland Ma, and Sanders, where now Inland Production gives you 5 O'Clock Tony, Benji, Chicken Boy, Cobra, Devastating Derizas, Dude Man, Dynamite Johnny, that should be my name, Gucci, Jamie the Learned, John, just John, MC Meow, MC Meow, sure, Reanimator, Sleep Dep Ed, Stingray, Uncle Monkey, Veal, Wrestling Matt, and Zumi.
All right, so now we have the wacky exclamation point people.
And that's their logo. It says wacky.
So you have Adam, Arj and Varge, Astronaut, Bessie, Bobby, Chrome Dome, Claude Rains, Cowboy, Crush Depth, Flapper, Gorilla, Hoof-Hearted, Indian, Mantis, Robot, Sailor, Sergeant, Short Circuit, Snuff, Squire, Starfish, Tiffany Payne, Wireframe, and Zoot Suit.
Okay, here's my grip. You ready for this?
Too many?
The WCW roster is insanely large. It's everyone. Prince Iakea is in this game. Vincent's in this game. Scotty Riggs, Reese, like you name it, they're in this game. What is the point of putting these, I'm not even going to count, over like 20 wacky names, the Inland Production guys, NTHQ? Why wouldn't you sacrifice these idiots in this game who no one's going to play as and put something cooler? Maybe a better cage match. Maybe.
Hey, I'm sure plenty of people played as Starfish back in the day.
Yeah, Arj and Varge. Like, use this to put a better championship FMV. Use this to make your crowd look better. Like, why are
actual titles,
not only little titles that show up on the character select screen? It's insane to me that it's like egotistical for the company who made the game. Like, you're not seeing Mattel right now put out wrestling figures of
themselves,
like Bill and whoever else, you know. Like,
Mike Herman's not putting himself in.
Right. He's not putting himself in Retromania. Like, I just don't
not
understand.
Not as a playable character.
Now, you go back to WrestleMania, the arcade game, the developers are in the crowd. That's cool. That's not taking up space on the game.
Like an Easter egg kind of.
We don't need this bullshit in this game. And this is a very WCW thing that we saw in Nitro as well.
Yeah, and I mean, for what it's worth, it's a fairly decent amount of arenas and places for you to fight. So I'll run through these. I feel bad that you had to read through some of these wild names. So your rings and arenas include Thunder, Old Thunder, Sold Out, Uncensored, Fall Brawl, Road Wild, Starcade, Halloween Havoc, Slamboree, Bash at the Beach, Super Bowl, Great American Bash, World War III, and Turbo. Now, there's also a series of hidden or unlockable rings. You have a parking lot, a garden, space station, USO, barnyard, The Box, Castle, Stonehenge, Extreme, Hades, Undersea, Rooftop, and Frontier.
Okay, so again, all of those rings that are hidden that you have to unlock. Why? Why do I ever want to be in the box or a castle? Like, as a kid, I pretty much played in Halloween Havoc and, like, Super Brawl. I was good. Like, I didn't need USO and the space station. I don't know. It's just like the phrase we always say, 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bucket.
I don't know. And I mean, there could have been some saving grace if presentation was a little better, but when you actually get into the game, man, these graphics are rough. They do not age well.
So let's get into that. Pretty much the exact same graphics as Nitro. Nothing was updated. We know that they look smooth. We mentioned that Nitro was the first of its kind, of the first game to use this smooth technology so the body parts are actually attached. It's not like, say, Revenge or No Mercy where the arms are not attached. I will say this, the crowd is extreme papery, but there is depth to the crowd. Like, you do see, like, it gets darker as it goes back, but it's a little distracting. But instead of that old WCW belt in the middle where the time is, you actually have a Thunder logo. Like I said, the presentation initially looks cool of this game until you get into it.
And, like, I was going to say that the HUD life bar meters aren't bad, but then you play a tag match.
Yeah.
And then they're like 25% of your screen. It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean,
it's a lot, but the arenas themselves look cool. The ring, like, the presentation looks very WCW.
Cage match isn't bad. Cage doesn't look bad.
It's not bad, but
I mean, the match itself isn't great, but it doesn't look bad.
I just don't understand the concept of putting someone in a bear hug in the first move of a match and half their health is gone.
Yeah.
Build this as the arcadey type game, then not the greatest wrestling game in the world, which we know it's not.
Yeah, this just like this missed very slightly.
You know who the characters are. I mean, I'll say that. Some of them do very much resemble their real life counterpart, but
now
I don't know.
Let's talk about the actual, like, gameplay itself.
Do we have to?
This was like the elephant ate the octopus who ate the whale in the room. Like, this is just a big glaring issue in this whole game. Now, for some reason, and I can't believe I'm actually about to say this, I think Nitro handles better. Like, the moves,
it's not as clunky,
feel better. Like, I could not figure out how to, like, and I played the game, then I looked up, like, a strategy guide to try to figure out how to do moves. I can't do a move.
You know what the strategy is? Buy No Mercy.
Or buy any, like, I would rather
Don't play this game.
I would rather play Versus the World over this.
Yeah, and it's crazy that this game came out, right? January of 99. Now, by August, we're already getting Mayhem, which is 10 notches above this.
Yeah.
The same year.
Like, that's unreal that you know, and I've gone back and I've played Mayhem. Like, I've played Mayhem on our Twitch channel before. Like, long after we've released that episode. Like, I just don't... This game promised so much and delivered so little.
And again, maybe if they didn't have the whole Inland Productions team on the roster, there would be space for other stuff that would be cool. Or, you know what bothered me the most is the camera angle, because as you're wrestling, it's not just stationary like a TV camera. Maybe I'm just used to that from games now.
Well, that's like last week's game.
Yeah, it moves with you. But it wasn't that annoying in last week's game because the arena's small in WCW games. Like, it's not this gigantic arena where the entrance ramp is 50 feet away. Everything's right on top of you. So you're seeing everything just moving all at once. They added grappling into this game, like a lock-up mode, which is so stupid because every button's a combination.
Test of strength was funny.
Test of strength, yeah. It's just ridiculous. Like, I came in, we did a run-through. I hit you with 7 Scorpion death drops right away. That was it. That was the whole match.
Yeah.
And then you came in another game and you just ran over me. Like, there's no strategy here. It's whoever has the upper hand.
Whoever button mashes
that's
better.
It. Right. You have to learn the different combinations of different wrestlers.
Yeah, I don't know. It's different. Now, Is it time for us to go to the artwork? Because I
was going to say, let's go to the best part of this game.
Oh, it's the best part? Because I've already got some big issues
I'm
to
sure
take
you do,
with it.
but I have big issues with the game, so I think the cover's the best part. Take me through it.
I think the logo is the best part of this cover. Because at least it's the logo,
not Hogan's cutout sunglasses or Giant's cutout hair. Big Show.
So this is my issue here. Goldberg is like framed to be coming out of the Big Show's. I keep saying Big Show. So
we know what you mean.
So Goldberg is framed to be coming out of the Giant's back.
Right.
Now, the quality of the photo, not great.
No.
DDP and the Giant, color balance is a little off on them. And this is me really going through with a fine-tooth comb here, just because I'm a stickler.
Graphically picking this apart here.
But there is nothing worse than this photo of Hulk Hogan. It took me a good 10 minutes to figure out what the hell he's doing here.
It almost looks like he's holding a bat until you realize it's a shirt.
He's ripping his shirt. I thought he was holding... At first, I was like, okay, the Giant is doing the big corner choke. Is Hulk Hogan supposed to be grabbing the second rope?
Yeah.
Then I was like, wait, no, maybe he's holding Sting's bat.
That's
nope.
My initial thought too.
Nope. It is a super poorly framed, super oddly zoomed in picture of Hulk Hogan making the world's weirdest face as he rips his shirt.
It's his shirt ripping face. This got me thinking, because we've noticed on pretty much every WCW cover we've gone through, plus some WWF covers, Hogan's bigger than everyone on these covers. Do you think, in his crazy mind, this is me being very hypothetical here, that he has somewhere, or he has to approve these or say, I have to be the biggest on blah, blah, blah? Because Goldberg's clearly the biggest, but you could tell Hogan's head is bigger. Do you think he wants that? Do you think they were we need to sell this, we want Hulk Hogan big?
Either way.
If he had DDP spot up top,
Big Terry was misdone. He's done a big misservice here.
Yeah. Let's go to the back cover. It's prettier.
Take us through the back cover.
All right, so it says feel the power. Now, last week you appreciated that the game screens were not in perfect squares. I appreciate this week that they are in little lightning struck
it's on
boxes.
theme.
It looks very good. 4-player battle royals, steel cage matches, numerous weapons, signature moves, taunts, and finishes, and it shows obviously the Bret Harts, the Chris Jerichos, the top guys here at the time, the Giant, Sting, Hogan. The most complete PlayStation wrestler yet, says Game Informer. We will get to the ratings in a second. Now it says, take control of the world's greatest athletes in WCW NWO Thunder. Dictate the rules and then break them. Only your imagination can keep you from ruling the world of professional wrestling. Over 60 WCW and NWO superstars, including Goldberg. I'm not going to read them all and more. Now, full screen wrestler entrances with theme music, commentary from Thunder announcers Tony Schiavone and Mike Today. Now, ready for this. This is rated E for everyone, but it says for realistic violence.
Oh.
The most realistic thing about this game is the real wrestler entrances, and that's it.
That's a big promise here. In addition to that, they also released this promotional Giant poster for it, which a lot of games do. But there's one thing that stood out to me on this.
Hogan actually rips his t-shirt. You actually see it.
The quality of the picture is, one, a little better here because you have more of a canvas. But also, you see that font at the bottom of this poster?
Yeah.
Does that look familiar? It's the Revenge font.
Yeah, that's the Revenge font. Maybe it's a generic WCW font.
I was going to say, I wonder if this was just the WCW font that they use for their posters, but
I think this is a cool poster.
I love this poster. I think this is great.
It's got a better background. It's got...
If the game was as good as this poster, this would be Hall of Fame worthy. The
pictures of the wrestlers from the cover are actually full pictures this time. You can see Hogan ripping his shirt. You see the Giant. I think that could be Chris Jericho. I'm not sure.
Could be
getting
Luger.
Choked. Yeah, could be Luger. Goldberg, actually, they flipped him and reversed it. And DDP's, putting an arm hold on someone.
And the lightning behind the Thunder logo looks great.
Yeah, and bleeds down into the pictures, which we have the same screenshots as the back, I think, and a few more added. Now, that was the cover. That was the back cover. But, George, did you know Did you know this was WCW's 9th video game out of its only 11 games officially published?
Did you know later in 1999, new versions of the game's predecessor, Nitro, were released for PC and N64, featuring the updated roster from Thunder?
Did you know this game starts on eBay around $5 used and works its way up to $60 brand new sealed? Now, if you see my childhood game, what it looks like today, I don't think there's a book. I don't think the jewel
Ours
case
is
is
gem mint.
Oh no, the jewel case is like missing glass on around the corners. I probably threw this game multiple times like, I'm done with this. But yeah, $60. I mean, that's not that bad for a brand new sealed game.
Now, we usually like to leave this part for last because this is like the fun nostalgia part. This is the thing that we like the most when these games have them. This game has cheat codes.
Now, from what I figured out also, these are pretty much the exact same codes from Nitro. So if you were a user of both and you only had Nitro, you were able to unlock some of it at least.
So there's a cheat code for all the hidden wrestlers, get all the rings. There's big head, hands, feet, and weapons mode. There's big head mode. There's change. There's a code to change your might meter. There's another FMV that's surrounded around the inland development team.
Egotistical bastards.
There's have a steel cage battle royal.
That's an interesting
That's
one.
a good one.
That's like kind of a workaround.
That's cool. I like that one.
That one you have to enter the ring, select the code, and after you're done, you select cage as your ring. So the cage is your ring. It's not really like a legit cage.
But
then you go to mode select and you select battle royal and it's inside the cage.
That's cool. I like it. But
not
you
bad.
know, John, you've been beating my ass senseless trying to get me ready for FWF Live. I need to lean back and rest my muscles here. Can you take us through some ratings and reviews so I can get a little R&R?
All right, we'll rest your noodles here. Now, All Game gives this game a 1.5 out of 5 stars. EGM with a 6 out of 10. Game Informer with a 4.75 out of 10. Game Revolution with a C-. GameSpot with a 5.4 out of 10. IGN with a 6.6 out of 10. Next Generation with a 3 out of 5 stars. OPM UK with a 3 out of 10. OPM US with a 1 out of 5 stars, and PlayStation Magazine, this is probably the top rating with Next Generation, gives it a 3 out of 5 stars. Other than that, IGN with the 6.6 is kind of high. I think the lowest one on here is OPM with the 1 out of 5. Now, if we go back to the back cover, Game Informer says this is the most complete PlayStation wrestler yet, but then they give this a 4.75 out of 10.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, we've talked about it before. There's always that, like, the big incentive to get good ratings, and you know, maybe a little monetary.
That was kind of debunked by Justin Leeper, but you know, it could be somewhere. This game received most of its negativity because of the poor graphics, difficulty of the controllers, which we already mentioned, and even though it got really bad reviews, it still sold over 1 million copies. So. Was it a complete failure? No, because they made the money. Like, what did they care? If how the game played at the end.
Yeah.
There was no DLC. There was no hot fixes or anything. Now, one thing we mentioned before that we didn't actually cover, and that's the might meter. Now, each wrestler on the roster also has a little meter, which looks like now when you target a limb in a video game, how it flashes, it shows like their strong points in the game. So the Giants might show his upper body as green, where Kimberly, who's on the weaker side, her whole body might be red.
Now, which is, you know, a little ahead of the curve here.
Yeah.
It's interesting for the time, but I don't know. You think it's time?
Time for what?
I think it's time to rate the game.
The game!
All right, I'm going to put this on you first. George Feis, WCW NWO Thunder. Will you play it forever?
Woo!
Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
Future endeavor, final answer.
All right, that was easy.
You're fired!
Johnny Clash.
Yes. What are you going to ask me?
I feel like you may be a little bit more conflicted than I, because you have history with this game. So, WCW, NWO Thunder, PlayStation 1. Will you play it forever? or future endeavor.
I had high hopes this week. I really did. Coming in here, I thought, like, I don't know, like, I played so much of this game as a kid. I haven't played it since, though. And the nostalgia goggles came off. We loaded it up. This game is a hot pile of crap. Future endeavor, double fuge for us.
You're fired! Oh, man.
So, Nitro sucked, right? Flat out, Nitro sucked. Nostalgia, sure, great. This game sucked. Nostalgia, okay. Why wouldn't... you put out Revenge a year before this, and then you put out Mayhem the same year. How does this sack of crap get stuck in the middle? Two different companies making them.
I wish I had an answer for you. I don't. I don't know. I wanted to like this game because I was like, oh, it's sequel to Thunder or sequel to Nitro. Like, you know, they're going to improve on the game from last time. We'll be good to go. And it's just no.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because it kind of died the same time WCW started dying, you know?
Yeah.
But all right, I think it's time we talk about our weekly tournament, Clash at the Feast. To check out this week's episode of Clash at the Feast, head on over to youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast, where we will play WCW NWO Thunder. But let's go on over to last week's game, Tokan Road Brave Spirits.
So we're going to put a little asterisk next to this one because...
Yeah, I ate the loss, though. If you watched our video, my Z button was backwards, per se. It was held down always, so if I was trying to do non-Z or Z button, it was reversed. But I owned up to it. George actually offered me a redo, and I said no, I'll take it. He won the first two games. Once I was more acclimated and realized the Z issue, just saying, I won that big battle royal, and I eliminated all three opponents in the last game.
That's
Maybe
true.
Maybe we'll have to revisit this
one. And I
one.
said that I would give you that as your win, and you said, no, that's fine.
But George, we settled February. Also, check that out on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast. But right now, for March, I believe you're up 2-0. So tell me, what am I playing next week to try to climb back?
All right, John. I like to do this thing now that we're in year 2. So now we can play the sequels to some games.
Ooh.
Next week, we are playing Legends of Wrestling 2.
Oh, yes. Okay. I'm ready. Great game. So I think. I guess we'll see what I really think next week.
Say, no more nostalgia goggles.
No more.
We're putting the games to the test.
I like it. All right. George, we, see this? This is my shovel. We buried WCW NWO Thunder.
They buried. Listen, Thunder screwed Thunder.
Take us home.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for us this week on the Game Marks Podcast. Please check out our Pro Wrestling Tees store at prowrestlingtees.com/GameMarksPod. And check out our full store at GameMarksPod.com/shop. It is the best way besides listening to support the podcast. And be sure to follow us on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. Leave us a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts and subscribe to wherever a great podcast can be found. Thanks for hanging out with us this week. Johnny, it was so nice to see you in person.
See you in the flesh.
You know, and do something other than have you beat me up in the ring for several hours a day. As always, wear your mask, social distance, wash your hands, be safe, and John, do that thing that you do.
Game over. Marks, George, back to the ring. Let's go.
Damn it.
Come on.
Damn it.
Back to the ring.
All right.
Get my kendo stick. Come on.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no game shard. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the Clash at the Feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.